we're going to put on code. The way we're going to talk in regard to Docker multistage, in particular minification of images and stage per environment. We can consider that in this video we are not considering how we are going to be moving files from one stage to another stage, but we are going to take a look into how to make the differentiations in regards to different stages per environment, like say in development and production, how to make a minification of these images, and we're going to use a particular library to make this happen as well. So let's go for it. So what we're going to do in this case, we're going to grab the intro of nextjs and we're going to create a Docker file for this intro, and from there we're going to try to add multi-stages to it to see what is the impact in regards to different libraries that we can have there for production and development stages. And in the last step of everything, we're going to try it out to minify the Docker image a bit more. So let's go for it. So first comes first, we're going to copy this guy, and there we are. So we're going to need here Docker file. We're going to put here node 12 Alpine. We're going to copy everything else here into the container. I'm going to put here a work there app. So therefore we're going to be copying everything to the app. I'm going to say run npm install && no, just npm install, and then cmd -c, the dev is going to be the one that we're going to need for nextjs to run. This is going to be for development in the first step, and dev is going to make the build as well, right? So we're going to try it as test. Text test, just something simple as test, and we're going to build it. That's a massive context to have for a Docker container. We're going to improve that. Going to clean up this guy. Ciao. We're going to say docker ignore node modes .git docker build test. Okay, this is 15.37 megabytes, and the reason is because probably we have a .next folder into this folder, and that's going to provide us with a bit more of a bigger context. That's the reason we have that there. Okay, let's go, and yeah, let's go for the next step. Docker file. Next step is going to be just looking at the image. 178 megabytes. That's pretty big. So it's in development state. I mean, it's with all the dependencies that come from development. We can see here that we have all of this. I'm going to remove it because I will have one dev dependency, right? Let's say, for example, mocha. just to add one more dependency here. We are going to also give the chance and remove .nextjs. Okay. Now we can see that it actually got reduced to 327 kilobytes because I removed .next. And 174 megabytes, right? That might be also because of the context or something that we bought when we. It is important sometimes when you create an image that you have a small context there. Let's try to run it. Minus p 3000. I remember it was in 3000, and then here. And it's everything there. Okay, perfectly fine. Attention, nextjs now collect. Okay, perfectly fine. So we have our development image. I'm going to remove it, and in this case we are going to try to create a base. From base as development, this is going to be. In this case it's going to be as production, npm install as, and in this case it's going to be production, and here is going to be npm start. So in this case we have one base stage that's going to be common for development and production, which is going to be just node Alpine 12. You could have your own image and in a certain registry if you wanted to, for example in a Google Cloud registry, and extend from there. And from that base I'm going to create something called development, which is going to be running everything that we saw before. And the next step is going to be for production. So I'm going to grab the same base. I'm going to copy everything that comes from the same sources, but I'm going to install only the dependencies for production and then just run npm start. So let's go for it. Okay, images, let's see if we are clean. Okay, we are clean. And now we are going to build -t test, but I'm going to tag it as test development, and I'm going to point it out to the target development, and I'm going to say the Docker file of this directory. So this is going to run everything that comes into the different steps up to development, right? And okay, Docker images, there it is, 174 as we saw before. But now we're going to say production here, and we're going to tag it also as production. It's caching all of the different steps that comes before. In general, there is going to be up to one CMD that you can have per Docker file. I mean, there is going to be only one that's going to run, right? But the one that's going to be running is the last one that got defined, right? So we can see here that it starts having a little bit of difference of fluctuation in the amount of megabytes from 174 megabytes to 164 in production. And the reason for that is that we have a dependency called mocha. And of course, if you increase the amount of dependencies here, then this difference is going to be bigger as well. Okay, so that will be the very first step to start making things smaller in regard to images, right? Now let's try it out to run it. We're going to say -p 3000, 3000, and we're going to say test production. We forgot something very important here. I'm going to remove this image. We forgot to build it for production. It's running in the port 3000. Works like a charm. Okay. The changes in regard to the sizes are from, this is something that we can actually remove this one. Anyway, it makes 174 megabytes for development and 165 for production. So in order, we are going to try to minify this image, and in order to do so, we can use the library Docker Slim. Docker Slim is a very nice library that I was trying out the other day, and it allows you to make smaller images for what you're looking for in different languages, not only Node.js. So this is pretty nice because I'm really looking forward to have smaller images in Node.js, and the catch in this one is that you need to know which are going to be the things that you're going to be using for your Docker file and for your project in a good sense. Like saying, for example, you're going to be using gRPC, you're going to be using an HTTP communication or whatever. So these kind of things, knowing some of these things and making an analysis in regards to the image that you want to work with is going to allow you to make a smaller image. This is a bit of a tuning, we can say, right? But we're going to see just the most basic example, and in this case it's going to be like this. I downloaded the binaries for it, and this is the command that I'm going to be running here. So you can see here that I'm saying I want to run the build of the Docker Slim of test production, and I'm going to include this directory here, which is going to be nodejs, and I'm going to include also app, and I'm going to expose the port 3000, right? So we are saying basically how to build these things with certain things that we need. We need nodejs and we need the /app. So let's see the image. You can see that this one is 116 megabytes slim. So by default it's going to give you the name of the image and .slim. And this one is 116 megabytes, while the one in production is 165 megabytes. So this is very, very nice. And you can see that everything is running as expected, right? So we went from Alpine to 174 megabytes for development, 165 to production, 116 megabytes with a Slim, Docker Slim. So I hope that you liked the video of today, and if you did so, just give it a like, subscribe to the channel. What is going to come next is going to be the naked pods. In this case, it's going to be just the ones that we're going to orchestrate in a later step with the Kubernetes cluster. So let's go for it. Till next time.